Hi everybody, Daman Mehta here, and thank you for once again joining me on my journey as I go through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. I know it's been a while. I really apologize. I'm not like hell since the 2 year anniversary. I had been doing it on a bi-weekly basis, and now it's been almost a month since my last video, and it's just because one, the stories took longer for me to read just because I was doing so much playing games and stuff, and also because work was going on in my house, I didn't want to record anything because I wasn't sure I could make sure that the noise wouldn't get picked up on the video. But I'm here now. Got 7 stories. Hopefully I'll be able to finish another one soon, so I'll be able to I'm close. I'm really slow. I still have 2 more stories to read even to make a second video, but hopefully I'll be able to finish that really quick and be able to get it out in a couple days. I won't make wait 2 weeks for that one, hopefully. But here we go. 7 stories to read from my favorites list on fanfiction.net. As always, descriptions, the summaries will appear on screen, and if you want to see them later on, if you want to give them a look yourself, links will be down in the description below, so you can always give them a read and form your own opinion. But this is my takes, and please enjoy. So, first one is Bleach, the Shinigami of Twilight by TheDemonKingNaruto. And this is a Bleach crossover with Negima. No Naruto at all, but yeah. Bleach and Negima. It's 3 chapters, not much. Basically, after Ichigo defeats Aizen, he's banished from his own universe and then ends up in the world of Negima before Neji is born, teams up with Nagi, and basically crafts a reputation as a super-powered godlike being before he disappears for a decade until the start of Negima canon. There's not really much to say about this story because it is basically just prologue. It's just building up it's just building up his reputation beforehand, and literally the final chapter is introducing Ichigo to class 3A. So it's the final chapter that's here is the start of canon. I say final chapter as if it's a complete story. It's not. This was discontinued immediately, so it's just the final chapter that the author wrote. There's nothing amazing here that you can not skip, that you must read. Though if you just want some really smut, there is a sex scene between Ichigo and Princess Theodora, but I'm not super, I don't care about that. And the story itself, again, is all build up and prologue. None of the actual interesting bits of later Negima or even the fun antics of early Negima show up. You can skip this without worry, and it's not going to stay on my list. Okay. Number 2 is Naruto Emia by Saphroneth. And this is another story that I don't really have much to say about. It's weird. It's basically a collection of very small scenes that take place over a large part of Naruto canon, where Naruto absorbs Shiro Emiya's memories when he graduates, and then uses his abilities to be super OP and curb stomp all the enemies he faces, with the chapter ending when they find Tsunade. So basically it just covers start of Genin to, just running into Tsunade. It's pretty dull. There isn't really a lot of humor here, and it's basically just boring because it's just a scene where, okay, it's just here, ninja problem comes, Naruto pulls out one super overpowered weapon, blows everything away, and then they move on. There's no actual humor or interestingness going on. It's literally just that repeated over and over again. You can skip this without worry. It's not going to stay on my list. Oh, man. My eye. Okay. Number 3 is A Life of Ramen by Razzmatazz22. And this is a pretty standard OP Naruto story that I'm pretty sure is only on my list because of its similarity to another fic that I really enjoyed, But He's a Ramen Chef. but he's just a ramen chef. The similarities between those two are basically its opening premise, where like Naruto was a super prodigy as a child, and like was like basically gonna set to become Hokage at age 6. He goes on a mission, comes back, and decides he doesn't want to be a ninja anymore, and just becomes a ramen chef. And then it cuts to present day, start of canon, where everybody's genin and stuff like that. This one is a bit more of a straightforward take than the pure humor and crack that was, but he's just a ramen chef. He's basically he's there, and he interacts more directly with the cast than basically the force of nature that he was in the other one, kind of. He's forms basically a harem with all the girls at his age in this one. And he's basically just like a walking nuke that's training the rest of the cast. It's pretty boring, nothing really spectacular. I feel like you could skip this without worry, and it's not going to stay on my list. Okay, number 4 is I Please Where I Go by Tempt Not the Blade. And this is a Duke Nukem crossover with Sekirei, which... So Sekirei is an anime that's basically harem Pokemon. I saw the first season. I remember liking it a lot. When it came out, I saw it. And you might see a few more Sekirei fics on this list. Just because I really got into it at the time, so I watched a lot of it. So here the Duke goes to Japan and ends up involved in the Sekirei plot by winging Karasuba right at the start, and then he decides to kill all the Sekirei he sees because, hey, Sekirei are aliens, and aliens are always out there to steal your women. It's honestly not as bad as I thought it was going to be when I was going in for the reread. Because I know I didn't grow up with Duke. I've basically my one interaction with him was when one of my friends was super excited to get Duke Nukem Forever, and that was not a good intro if that was the case. But it's just not. He wasn't that great of a character for me. But this story worked a lot, made him actually something more than that. I know in the games he's basically just a parody and like all one-liners and stuff like that. And here it's a lot of that. There's a lot of just movie references and stuff like one-liners in his dialogue. But it also gives him some amount of emotion and depth. Not a lot, but it's more than I was expecting. The story's not finished, so and it was leading up to this huge blow-up between the few Sekirei that Duke didn't kill and then Duke himself. But overall, it's just an okay story that, while being better than I thought it would be, is still incomplete and not very good, not amazing, or not even very good. So I think you can leave this be, and it's not going to stay on my list. Okay. Now for a change, let's go to My Little Pony with The Death of Princess Luna by Giga Bowser NS. This is a story about the focus on the main 6 and Princess Celestia, and that tells a tragic tale of the title and how the cast moves on from such an event. As a change from the rest, this one is extremely engaging in both emotional and dramatic weight, and I like how it takes Princess Luna's perceived reputation and stuff like that, considering when it was written. This is taking place just after the start of Season 2, and Luna was basically a hermit at this point, with basically her only appearance being that first 2 episodes where they established her as Nightmare Moon, so she was still like a recluse. So it's like a lot of it played on the idea of how other people are reacting to her when she's not doing anything with the reputation. I really enjoyed this. I think that anybody who likes the show should really give this a read, and it would definitely be interesting. It gives up a nice little arc that I feel would have been like 2 or 3 episodes if it was in the show, and I feel like it's just really, really well done. which is a very good change from the rest of the stories that have been on this list so far. And it is definitely going to stay on my list with a highly recommended for if you like My Little Pony. All right, moving on, we have After by Sapphire Swimming. And let's follow up one death with another. Before we had Luna, now we got the death of Danny. It's a one-shot where Danny Phantom dies. A single little scene that works as a extremely emotional moment really well without even seeing any of the other events surrounding it. You know, it's a simple, sad. There is a sequel of more scenes, so I really don't have much to say about it unless you see it. It's like, just give it if you want to see some Danny Phantom flavored depression. This was actually one of the first stories by this author that I read, and I literally actually read this, the sequel, and a third one that wasn't technically a sequel, but actually as a 1, 2, 3 punch, they merged. They actually fit rather well, and it was a very depressing trilogy. I actually like these small scenes a lot. This one I feel is really well done, and it's going to stay on my list. And the last the last fic for this video is Watching the Empire Strikes Back by Mythical Dragon 48. And this is a MST3K fic where the cast of Han, Leia, Luke, and a bunch of other rebels watch Empire Strikes Back after they had watched A New Hope previously. So this story has a lot of the same formatting issues of the previous version, where you don't know what's a reaction or what's dialogue and what's the movie dialogue or description. And it also has the added minus of not being complete. So we only get to Luke, meeting Yoda and getting a bit of training from him. There's not a lot to see here, especially as the biggest moment, which would give the biggest reaction, is not actually written. And, there's no third part because they never finished the second one, so it's not really interesting. You can skip this, just like the last one, and it's not going to stay on my list. So that's going to be it for this video. Kind of depressing that the video that took so long to make, and at the same time, because of reading stuff, most of these I just drop and they're not worth your time. But I will say those two, I feel like most of them are not worth your time, but the two, Death of Princess Luna and After, are both really good, and you should definitely give them a look. So please do that. If links for all these stories are in the description below. Fanfiction status time. Da, la, 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 la. I have read now 633 stories, which I think is about half. I think that's actually half. I think I started with 1,266, so I think I might actually be at the halfway point. And I have kept 316 on my list, so that's also about half of what I've read. Half. Oh, boy. But yeah, thank you all who stayed with me, or if this is your first video, thank you for watching this. I have links to the playlist where I have all these, forum where I post this all in written form. The videos are also embedded there, as well as, again, links to all the stories, and my fanfiction.net profile if you wanted to see what other stories are on my profile currently and what might be coming up. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, like I said, I will try to get the next one out sooner rather than later. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care.